G'day folks, it's Rob here and welcome to our backyard farm. Today's clip is being shot while I'm filming another one actually. I thought I'd just take you around and show you the perennial tree collards because they're flowering. Also to the chook coop, or how far along the chicken pens come, and I'll give you a look at a few other bits and pieces. The other clip I'm filming is on broad mites. We've had a bit of an infestation, so if you want to check that one out, all you need to do is hit that little subscribe button down there and you'll be sent a notification whenever it's uploaded to YouTube. It may actually be uploaded before this one, we'll just have to wait and see, but yeah, subscribe anyway, I won't mind. Yeah, but what we might do is we might go back up towards the house and I'll show you another freaky carrot that we got growing in a little root pouch. So up here at our slowly deteriorating back stairs, hence the renovations we're going to be starting, we have a bit of a root pouch garden. This pouch here has an Astipusa black, or supposedly black carrot. I think they're more a dark purple. As you can see, this one has a few different growth points. We've got one over the back there, one over the back there and there, and she's looking rather gnarly down at the base. Now this pouch was sown out with a load of the seeds that I had, and fortunately the bloomin' army caterpillars pretty much well smashed through all of them, and I only managed to save two, and one has since passed and gone to the great compost heap in the sky. This one here I'm pretty much all trying to get to go to flower, because I'd love to be able to save my own seed from an heirloom black or deep purple carrot, so I can grow some out for myself and maybe share a few seeds around. Just next to it we have a larger, I think it's about a 260 litre root pouch garden. This one here had some melons growing up a trellis. I'm not doing that this season because this garden is going to have to be moved when we start doing the renovations, and it's actually good it's on this little plastic tray because we'll just be able to slide it down the backyard and out of the way. In here we've just got some red shallots. We're trying to grow up a bit closer to the house so we don't have to go so far for green onions, and we've also got the warrigal greens. I popped in two little seedlings and most of those will be coming off for tonight's spinach pasta. And just down here we have a couple of broccoli. They're not doing as well as their sisters, I'll show you in a tick, but you know, we will get some florets off them eventually. Just here we have the wicking root pouch barrel I made up a couple of clips ago. It's got the dill in there that's doing absolutely gangbusters. We've taken a few branches off this for different meals and it's doing so well I think we're going to have to cut it right back and dehydrate some for use later on in the year when it's too hot to grow it properly. So that should happen soon I think, before it goes to flower. Down here we have a native violet Kira brought back from a school camp, and the dwarf lemon looks to be doing okay in here. We've got a few flowers on there and I think we may have one fruit that is stuck, so it'll be interesting to see how that goes. Just over here we have the banana. This is the Decast banana that went to flower in the root pouch. It's probably a bad angle, we'll move around, hey? There we go, there's a slightly better angle on it. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hands of fruit on it, and it's pretty much all only producing male flowers at the moment. So we've seen a load of native bees come in for a bit of a feed on them, and also too the noisy miners like coming down. I think they're actually feeding on the bees. So we will get at least one decent bunch out of these root pouch grown bananas. Just down here in the wicking barrel we have the two sister broccoli to the one planted at the, or the two planted at the back stairs. And I just noticed something that might interest a few of you folks. So what we've got here are a couple of eggs laid by the cabbage butterfly. Some people call them a cabbage moth, but it's a butterfly. Now these guys here are normally laid on the underside of the leaves, but I haven't seen any on this plant here. They're very easy to look after when you find them like this. All you need to do is just squish them. That pretty much what takes care of them. There's also other organic measures you can take once their caterpillars form, and that's using things like Bacillus thuringiensis or BT based insecticides, or you can just cover your whole crop with some insect netting, and that should stop any butterflies from getting in there to lay the eggs. Just next to the barrel in front of the fish tanks in the aquaponics, we've got a bit of a root pouch garden going on. The back left we have some ginger I'm overwintering. Some San Marino or Mazzino tomatoes in the center there, a small little red dwarfish capsicum or sweet pepper, our sunshine chilies that did have a little bit of a deficiency, but it looks like it's slowly being fixed up, and we've got a passion fruit, and down here we've got a couple of the new root pouch hedges or little garden beds that they've been making up. I've just got some cardboard down there just to help hold them in shape. until the soil settles. And down here I had a customer come around for some root pouches and he dropped off some red tamarillos, so thank you very much, Jason. They're going to end up in a pouch at some point in time because we don't really have any garden beds to grow in at the moment. Down here we have a spray bottle and some horticultural oil that will be going on to this capsicum or sweet pepper. I've already given it one spray. I've given the guys on Patreon a bit of a look at that. I'm just waiting, as you can see, for the sun to go down to finish that clip, because yeah, it doesn't really make for a very photogenic or videogenic shots when you've got a lot of shade coming over the top. Just down at the base of this capsicum, I've got a bit of a garlic trial going on. Now there's two types there. Can you tell which one I'm thinking is going to do better? The one on the left is a Glen Large variety. It's developed just west of here, so a little bit more suited to our climate. And this one here is a Red Creole variety, I think. And I'm only just basing that on what the cloves look like when I planted them out. And as you can see, the stems are very thin and wispy, and they're not really standing up too well. These Glen Large, they've got a nice sized bulb on them. I had a bit of a bandicoot around here the other day. I've got the bulb, side of the bulb there coming out to almost 40 mil or 1.5 inches from the base of the stem, so these guys hopefully will give us some nice bulbs. So this hoop house was set up primarily to keep out cabbage butterfly and fruit fly, but at the moment we don't really have a lot of either around because we're at the coolest part of our winter. So I've just sort of left the door fairly open. It is shut a little bit to keep Lizzie out. Unfortunately, Lizzie's not trained to stay out of garden bed, so she goes for a bit of a wander through there. Just at the door here, we have a giant volunteer flatleaf parsley. We have these popping up all over the place. We've been harvesting them from the aquaponics, and I think this one needs a good trim back too. So I see a tabbouleh in our future. Now, just down here, I did notice, if I can swing the camera around without getting it caught, we have some flower heads coming on. So these guys here, I'll try and nurture them. I don't know if I'll be able to, and we'll end up spreading them around the patch, so we've got some more coming up. Just down here, just to give you an idea of the volunteers we get, there's a warrigal green there in the pavers, and there's a little parsley beside it. And this bed here is absolutely chockers with warrigal greens, but I'll give you a look at the peas first. These are all honey pod peas. They're Bee's favourite, or Bianca's favourite, so I tend to grow these every season, and we've had what I would consider a bumper harvest from these plants. We started off with 5, but one around the front here is starting to look a little bit manky. So this little one here has decided to turn up its toes all by itself. It's just in the middle of the row. I have no idea as to why. I'm not too upset because, as you can see from this plant here, we have a few peas on. Not only that, over here we have another, at least a good bowl of peas ready to come off there. That one's nice and fat. Bianca likes me to let a few go so she can actually hold them and grab the little green peas out. But generally, I personally like them when they're thin like this. That's pretty much, well, yeah, that one's definitely ready, but at this size here is pretty much where I like them. So yeah, I must say, very impressed with the way these guys have gone this season. Down below here we have, I suppose it's an unintentional polyculture bed. We did plan out a row of cauliflowers here that we have harvested. Some have bolted and gone to flower early, but I'm not too worried about that. I probably should nip them off because we have another flowering brassica in here at the moment. And down around the base you can work out all the warrigal greens or New Zealand spinach. All these guys here have started off from some seeds that were just self-sown from a runner from another plant in the patch that made it into this bed. It's actually filled out this bed rather nicely. It's looking very green indeed. This towering monstrosity here is our perennial tree collard. That's what it was given to us as, but he did say, Chris, thank you very much Chris, Chris did say that there is a possibility that it's not going to grow true to type. Definitely yeah, a spectacular show of flowers. These guys here you can nip off when they're young and just throw them in like a small broccolini and cook them up that way. The flowers can go into salads. I will be saving 1 or 2 of the seeds just to see what they turn out like, but I have a feeling it's not a true perennial tree collard, and Chris will probably watch this and correct me if I'm wrong. We do have another little branch down there. It had such a poor start to its life that the initial stems were very thin, and you can probably see where I've started to take better care of the bed, probably around about there. The stems have gotten fatter and fatter as I fed up the bed with some of our compost and liquid fertilizers. Just down here we have some parsley that's probably popped up by itself, more warrigal greens, perennial leeks, we have them popping up everywhere, and broccoli. So the broccoli was a little bit late to start off in this bed. I don't think we're going to get a mammoth head from it, but we'll see how we go. And of course more warrigal greens. This bed's going to be harvested for dinner tonight actually. And just some random onions around here that never really form bulbs, but I'm not complaining because whenever we need greens, onion greens, we have loads. Down here is an old root pouch bed. That tray is going to be used for some new purchases that you'll probably see a clip on soon. Another one of the tree kales that Chris gave me. Chris actually put a photo on his page the other day, so this is my purple one, Chris, that looks similar to yours, but obviously nowhere near as tall. I have a feeling it's because this bed here has pretty much well just been left to go to rack and ruin, because I know there's tree roots through there. We've got some weeds, some more weeds, and some very neglected looking perpetual leeks in here as well. So yeah, this bed really doesn't have a lot going for it. Oh, I just noticed another warrigal green. So yeah, this bed will probably be the first one to come out of these two, seeing as this one is so productive. We need to make room for better access to the chicken pen, which is what I'll show you now. So just on the bottom side of the hoop house, we have a chicken coop. Don't laugh at me, it's not finished, folks. What I've been doing is just playing Lego, basically. I've got sheets of iron and sheets of mesh just laid up against some star pickets or star posts, just to see if I'm happy with the way it's sitting, and just to see if the materials I've got will be able to finish the job. I'm actually waiting for a mate to come around tomorrow. He's actually a Patreon as well. G'day Mark, check out his link below the clip. He makes guitars, but in a previous life he used to be a builder, and I'm sure he's a lot more knowledgeable about how to fix guttering and how to slope the tin than I am. I mean, it's pretty common sense, but I thought I'd get him around for a bit of a look. Not that it's an excuse for a barbie and a couple of ales, but you know, yeah, hopefully he'll give me a few pointers on how I can just fix that roof up. Now the pen itself is going to be consisted of a back wall, a little bit of tin here on the upper side and the bottom side, because most of our prevailing rain actually comes from the way we're looking at the chicken coop now, so that'll give them a bit of protection. This little bit of fencing here, even though it's not cut to size, that will probably be the door. We've got a little bit of fill fencing down there, and on the other side I'm thinking I'm just going to attach that tin to that wire fencing that's already forming that wall. And I'm not going to cut the fencing, mainly because this chicken coop may be pulled down again in the future, and it would be nice to have some full lengths of chicken fencing or school fencing that I could use elsewhere in the patch. Now the chicken coop is going to sit inside a pen, and the pen is going to have a gate that is pretty much almost comes to the edge of the chicken house there, down that line of pavers almost to the end, and down to the other side there. So pretty much all the soil you can see, or dirt you can see here, up until about that point there, and along there I'm going to have some garden beds. That will contain probably some tree collards and some other bits and pieces that we will be growing primarily for the chickens, some of it for ourselves, so we can just throw it over the fence into their day yard and they can have some fresh greens. I've also got some other ideas about other ways we can feed them and get them to help in the patch, and that will all be happening on the top side of the fence, which will be there. And as I mentioned before, that top bed's coming out, and this bed here will be coming out as well, the one I showed you with all the warrigal greens, once we've finished with it this season. So there's a little bit of an update on the chicken pen. Hopefully, yeah, in the next two, I won't promise anything for next week, but in the next 2 to 3 weeks, you'll see a final chicken coop and a couple of the bells and whistles I'm going to add onto it. So something I don't think I've shown you folks this season is the water chestnut barrel. I started off with 3 corms, I think, and I've got a truckload in there, so I'm pretty happy with the way they went. They were neglected a little bit while I was crook. The girls didn't keep the water up to them, but I'm hoping there's enough in there. Enough small ones that will get a couple of decent meals. I actually gave some to Gordon the other day, I think, when he was around. G'day folks, enjoyed the visit. So these guys here do need to come out, and I'll be moving this barrel because it's sort of blocking the access to the back of the property. just over there. I think I may have mentioned it in a clip, it might have been to the Patreon folks. The turmeric is ready to harvest, so I'll be doing a harvest clip for that very soon. And once it's gone, these poor struggling banana trees that are growing in a small root pouch will be planted out into the ground, so that'll be their permanent home. This bed here that was overtaken by volunteer Egyptian spinach now has volunteer warrigal greens and the Egyptian walking onions, and also a couple of other volunteers, notably a papaya. This one here, I was hoping it was going to be like its parent, because we've only had the bisexual pawpaws here, that it would turn bisexual, but unfortunately we're only getting female flowers, so this tree here will probably have to come out, because I really don't want to get another male pawpaw down here. All that's going to happen is I'll chop it off down the base, and any roots in the soil will just have to be consumed by the worms, the compost worms in there, and any earthworms that have turned up. This turmeric here, it didn't have a very long growing season, so I'm just going to let it be for next season. Over here we have another volunteer eggplant, but this time in the ginger bed. We've got a couple of bits of ginger still trying to hold on. There's the normal ginger in the center there that hasn't quite died back, and also to the Cambodian ginger. And I did notice over the back here with the king Kerr, some of it, or king Kerr, I keep mispronouncing it, some of it's holding on as well. So yeah, hopefully we'll get a nice head start to the next growing season. And just before I finish off, I've got to show you down here. So this poor coffee plant has only got 5 beans on it, but I suppose that's enough for quarter to half a shot of coffee once we dry them and roast them. This poor plant has suffered a little bit of a deficiency, but she's picking up now. The new growth is looking good. It's in a root pouch at the moment, but I'd like to plant it out halfway between where it is and that wicking barrel over there, just under the mango tree, maybe a little bit down that way. The reason being is they are an understory tree, as I understand it, and I think it will enjoy this position under the mango. As you can see, it's getting a fair amount of winter sun here. So the sun's gone down far enough that I can finish off the broad mite clip now, so I better get cracking on that before it totally disappears. I do hope you enjoyed this little bit of a wander around our little backyard farm. Before I go though, I really do need to thank the awesome people over on Patreon who are supporting us with their pledges. If you want to check out the super contributors, there's a link down below to their websites or Facebook pages, or I think 1 or 2 of them have just got their names there. So thank you very much folks for all the support. We really do appreciate it. It's helping me slowly get more bits of equipment, and I may have made a plant purchase or 2 that I'll be showing everyone in an upcoming clip with the funds that we've got through Patreon. So there you go. I do hope that you're all well and happy and that your gardens are booming, and I'll catch you next clip. Cheers folks, have a top one.